Brandon. Okay. There he is. Okay. So for the rest of you, if you were not on Tuesday, then I don't have to apologize for the repeat. Uh, we're doing, we're going to basically, we've got, well, let me ask this. I know Dee Williams is new because I talked to her earlier. There she is. Hi, Denise. Um, and let's see, how many others are, this is your first time? If, okay, Eric, Denise, and anyone else? Victor, I think I recognize. Uh, okay, so I recognize some of you. Some of you are probably fairly new, and then I know we've got at least a couple of brand new ones. What we have on schedule today is to cover the point of contact document. What I'm going to do, what we did on Tuesday, I'm going to try to repeat. And for all of you, for those that are brand new, I tend to go this route with our how we do things and where you should go to make it consistent. We don't do PowerPoint presentations because then you got to get a PowerPoint and all of that. Instead, we go straight to the spread to the Encountering Innovation website. Before we do, I want to touch base with Vicki. Do you have anything you need to? Well, we do have the post thing you sent out to the SBDC folks, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So,
You
yeah.
want to ask?
Well, so Barbara, Chip, I'm trying to, I think you're the only.
Jerry.
Jerry, yeah, there. I see Jerry.
Angela with Southwest Espedo, Josh Wilson King.
Go. Yeah. So basically what we're trying to do for Rob Carpenter with the Defense On-Ramp Hub in Kansas, we're trying to find out how many of our clients are planning to attend the post conference, which is March 3rd through 7th.
Yes.
Right? And some of you, Vicki sent out the webinar and we got information back from some. Okay. Get that out of my way. There we go. So if you know, Chip, if you or the others, if you know of some, or if any of you are planning to attend that, we would like to know to be able to report back to Rob because they're working on, I guess, some things that they're doing to support the program. So if you know of any, if you could let us know today, that'd be great.
Okay. Yeah. Jerry can follow up on that along with us there. So it's a virtual deal, one-time deal, or what is it?
No, the webinar, there was some webinar stuff about post
in January.
Yeah,
okay.
I think last year when we weren't conflicting with it has been when we were in November. That first year you guys came, it was the next March. It's in March. Well, now that we're tying with Keegan with his Defense Innovation Forum, it's real close.
Gotcha.
So they're 3rd through the 7th physically in person in Hawaii.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Vicki's link, we grabbed the actual post website. Yeah, to make it real easy for those that aren't used to it or anything.
Right.
I'm hoping that in the future we can get to a point where maybe we know most of these that we coordinate with to try to keep us apart from each other. There's enough stuff going on that some of that's going to happen, and it's just it just depends on who it's important to. Not all of our clients should be there, but there may be some that should be there.
Yeah, we've got a few that should be there.
Yeah. So if you'll just coordinate, that'll help. Yeah, Barbara?
The PostFX event happens at the same time, but not at the conference. So if people are talking about going to PostFX, they'll at least be there. But there's some parts of the conference that you can get into, like the trade show, without paying the conference fee.
Okay.
We went last year.
Okay.
That's good to know. Yeah, because there's parts of it are not cheap, especially for Those of us that if you counting your money and you're putting it towards your program, it makes it a little challenging. Yeah, cool. Is that it, Vicki? Okay. So what I'm going to do today, what we did Tuesday, I'm going to be I'm going to share my screen, but I'm going to be talking to you about the difference of how we treat your documents from a perspective of. Let me share my screen and then I can quit stuttering. There we go. All right. Yeah. All right. So what we're talking about, I'm going to go straight to our website. So like I said, we don't use PowerPoint for presentations like this. So all we're doing is going to encounteringinnovation.com. So as you're out and about talking to people or something happens and you're referring to what we do, we do have a flyer on the website, but for the most part, what we try to do is make it simple where they can just go to the website and get what they need. So we talk to you as if this is your toolbox. And when you're working with it, if you see something that either doesn't make sense or you're thinking, wait a minute, this is 2025. Why does that say 2023? Or a document that we've missed or template, please feel free to reach out to us. Let us know if you catch something. We try to make this your toolbox. And as we go forward, hopefully we can get better and better at connecting, and we'll show you that in a second. So going back to the website then, unless you have a blocker, a pop-up blocker, you should see the pop-up. This will take you straight to our conference page. If you don't see it, it's because you got the pop-up blocker. In either case, all you'd have to do is go over to More and EEI Conference 2025. That's where that ends up sending you. This is the page. So we try to put everything you need to know right here. We use these buttons. So for like Denise, there's where I was referring to the application. That takes you straight into the application process. We're telling you when the conference is. We're working on giving you everything we know about the conference. When we say March 18th to the 21st, hopefully everyone realizes, give me just a second. I get weird when I can't see everybody. So I'm moving things around where I can see a little better. My apologies. Okay. The 18th to the 21st is the entire amount of time we're working in Kansas City with a physical time. For you, for most of you, our focus is Thursday is the day of speakers, and your job, beyond being the innovator, meeting with DIU as DOD as your primary focus, DOD Combatant Command Tech Scouts. The other thing we want you to do is be you and go to the Thursday speakers conference. That's the Defense Innovation Forum. That's what Keegan Evans is, the regional engagement principal with DIU, formerly ensign for his position. He is working to stand up this Defense Innovation Forum as an ongoing event. He's invited multiple DIU personnel and other resource partners from his perspective. That lightens our load and it complicates us. It complicates it at the same time. So what we're doing is that's him. So we're dovetailing on either side, Wednesday and Friday. So as we work together to where you pitch, and then hopefully for some of you, DIU personnel, we're inviting or will be inviting, as they're going to be there Thursday, that they can attend pitches Wednesday afternoon or Friday morning. So that's where we're trying to put your pitch. The prime slots of pitches are going to be Wednesday afternoon or Friday morning. For some of you or others that may join, or they're watching this in a recording and you see your slot in your Tuesday, well, then you're in the overflow. It doesn't change anything with your primary focus with the DoD Tech Scouts, because they'll be there. All we're trying to do is get as many of you as we can around the speakers for convenience first, but really for us, we want you to see the different people and network. There'll be, I think they're scheduling 4 networking sessions throughout the day in between the speakers. So we want you there. And hopefully all of you SBDC people and all of those, we're asking you to be there to participate, to talk to them about your experience, what you think, what's working, what isn't, all of that, because we're trying to work together. Our focus has been, before DIU, was just Combatant Command, Tech Scouts is our primary focus, and then Department of Homeland Security, Department of Energy, NASA, Space Force, et cetera. Okay, now we are utilizing the funds that they're helping us with. We're trying our best to instill the fact that DIU does exist. We go to some of that information we'll show you in just a second, but the idea is that you're connecting with DIU because they're trying to help you. They're trying to help the innovator that the DoD needs to purchase or their commercialization of their technology. We're trying to get you connected with them and their programs in such a way that it benefits you. Okay, that's the plan. So they do more than what we do. We're working to prep. They're hopefully part of the solutions that are getting you there. That's why this conference is important to us, for you, because before DoD, it was just DoD Combatant Command and our resource partners. With DIU, it brings a new perspective. And so Keegan is working at that level to bring more of those people for this conference.
Alan, I would add with that if you know for certain that you are going to be there on Thursday at Johnson County Community College for the Defense Innovation Forum, please let me know so that we can give, they're looking, kind of wanting to get an idea of numbers.
Yeah, so as we alert you that you're coming, that you've invited, what'll help is knowing that in the past, we've had a registration where there's a payment fee because our host, well, the way we're working things out for now, we don't expect a payment fee at all. That's what the plan is. In the past, the host carried through whatever soft costs they had, they passed them on to the innovators. We're trying to eliminate that if we can. It's not it was started out at $199 all the way up to $299. So it wasn't a back-breaking amount, but if you had 2 people or 3, it adds up to the fact that you got a travel cost and hotel cost and that type of thing. So we're trying to eliminate as much as we can. We don't own the hotel. We can't even get them to think of us as as that. So we don't get any special anything with anybody. We try. We're trying to work with them anyway. So hopefully that'll help.
I'll send an email out as well asking if you are and how many will be attending the pitch and everything else so that we know who to expect.
Yeah, we're working on coordinating the creature comfort reality of if you're there Tuesday or Wednesday and Friday, as far as things like coffee in the morning. So we're working on that kind of stuff. Lunch, if there's lunch, how we can get things taken care of. We're trying our best not to make this where everybody has to go off campus to get stuff done, other than after the program is over. And even then, we're trying to get where we can, if nothing else, do an all call and say we'll be at the if we're at Embassy Suites, the plaza, okay, we'll be there. We'll be looking at for you around the opening area, around the bar, that area, like 5:30 on. Johnson County Community College helped us establish that for the first time in November of 23, and that worked out so well. We realized having a place for networking really helped. So we're going to do our best to try to keep that going. On the website itself, we will be we're meeting with our the people that help us with the website. We're meeting with them on Monday, right?
Yes.
So hopefully, or midweek, hopefully, I don't know how quick, we're going to try to have the logistics information because we as a pitch group will be at UMKC, University of Missouri at Kansas City in Kansas City, Missouri. And then the speakers portion or the Defense Innovation Forum on Thursday will be at Johnson County Community College, about 20 miles. I think it's about 20 miles, about 25 minutes away. They're both on the same side of the metropolitan area, the southwest area. So they're fairly close, but they're not right next door. There is a few minutes drive apart. So we're trying to make sure everybody understands that. We'll have a map and show all of that to make life easy for coordination, because what we're hoping for is what we've said is all the networking. There's information that will be in there. There will also be multiple panels discussing. So the more we can have a view for that, that helps. What we're really hoping for is what our most current or the most often first thing everybody talks about are their matchmaking results. But those are the things that people talk about. Well, Keegan's working on his end for more of the type of advanced manufacturing type companies that do tech transfer, that look for innovation and acquire it, bring it in, that type of thing. So hopefully that will be there. A very good amount of that will be there. If we can, we're planning to, with Rick Slater's help, to get as many of those known ahead of time, where they'll be on the capability matrix, that your capability statement answers that you've already answered and that you'll be working with will go into that spreadsheet. Okay. Those of you that are brand new, what we're talking about, we don't do matchmaking the old fashioned way. What Rick does is all of it is and where I'm about to go now is your public, what we call your public facing information. We put in a spreadsheet and you get it along with every other innovator, all small businesses. The only people that don't get to that don't have their information on there is if you chose not to participate in your application for matchmaking. And every now and then there's someone who says, if I just talk about what I'm doing, I'll lose it. So they don't want to participate. They only want to do the private pitch. And that's fine. We're no problem there. The vast majority, over about 90% or more of you, choose to participate. And if you do, then that's the public facing information. The private information we're covering is the pitch. The pitch with your tech scouts, you will not be in that room except for when you pitch. So you won't be in there watching your neighbor, your other innovator. That's not the way this works. So it's not a crowd type presentation. There will be a few people in there, 5, 10, and support personnel, but that's it. Everyone else that is there will be you or your what we call your tech coach, your SBDC person, or your on-ramp hub person that you're working with. All right. So with that in mind, now you got the you got the website in front of you. These buttons are for your assistants. If you want to look at tech coaches from the past, we have EI24. This brings up tech scouts. You will see different people. Earl Barron is Department of Homeland Security. He has participated virtually the last 2 years, he and his team. So we expect that will be the same case. Tim Fowler is our main contact, the person we work with as our lead after Brett Sheringhausen passed. He's the one I've been working with since the beginning in 2017, along with Brett, and then others. So that's the tech scouts. What we're going to do today is go into your tech coaches, folks with the SBDC, Apex, and others. They'll be over in your tech coach part. All right. So today what we're doing is talking about tech transfer. On the tech transfer side, today all we're supposed to talk about is point of contact. Well, that recording, each of these, for those of you that are new, each of these has Bill Carey. He's on with us today. Bill has recorded what we do in each of these segments to make it very easy. So for instance, Denise, you just showed up today. If you decided to run through and get all this stuff done, you could do it in a couple hours. The general overview is basically what I'm doing right now. The quad chart, he goes into detail on that. The buttons below that are actual up-to-date documents. In our case, the one thing from the quad chart, the bluff and information paper and pitch deck that are in our new information that he doesn't refer to will be the Defense Innovation Unit, who we've been talking about, and their areas of focus. So if you click here, you jump over to their website, and the things we've asked you to do once you do the application, you recognize these are the 7 areas of focus. Below then on this website page are the lines of effort in each segment. Most of that should be fairly obvious. For some of you, depending on what you're doing, you may go, I'm not sure if I'm not artificial, but maybe I'm autonomy. And you see it there, and then you go down and you look in cyber and telecom and you go, okay, there's a spot here and there's a spot up here I could choose. That may be your case. If that's the case, go with at least pick your primary. And then if you think you've got a secondary one, you can mention it or keep that in mind and be remembering that as we go forward. It's not necessarily an exact science for some of you because of the way you look at this. That's okay. We get it. If you place one, then when they come in and you see whoever it is that sees that, needs that information, if they see it as, oh, that's not quite the one, I think you should be over there, we'll get that, okay? Once again, this is a collaborative process and a collaborative program. We just need you to do your best to pick the right one. What we're hoping for then is that information from your bluff, title, your YouTube short for those, and we'll talk about that in just a second. That information is on a spreadsheet that right now we've just sent our second batch of innovators to the Tech Scouts. We expect when we've got our group together, we're planning to share that to Keegan Evans and then Keegan to DIU. So we're hoping that as many that are going to be at the conference can participate and that you'll meet, that happens. But beyond that, we've told him, we know that there's people that will be in a conference the week before. And I said, that's not a problem. They don't have to be there in person. They can come in virtually. So we're trying to build the connection where we can have some of those that would be the director over your particular technology category group to participate. If it doesn't happen this year, then hopefully by the time this thing becomes a normal process over the next 2 or 3 years, that will be the case. So it's either, as I keep telling the others, those of you who've heard this or not heard it, it's either dynamic or chaotic. Hopefully for you, it's mostly dynamic. Every once in a while, it's chaotic, right? Okay, so that's basically how that works. Any questions or comments about the DIU portion? Chip, you unmuted a while ago. Were you about to say something?
No, I was not, but I will definitely comment. What you said was very helpful. I think milk this baby for all you can. If you're coming to it, try to attend to everything, matchmaking and all this, as you said, with the DIU connections. And that's great new opportunities that weren't there even last year. So that's great.
Well, thank you. Yes. And as I'm telling you, I'm not giving anybody a script. That's not our job. What we're trying to do is be very transparent with this process, how it's changing or how we're pivoting in it and how we think it's going to improve what's going on. There are people that we work with even weekly that really don't understand all that we do. In this morning in a couple of emails, I'm realizing people are thinking after the conference is over, we're kind of done. What all are you going to do? And I'm like, are you kidding? With DIU involved, and then as we pivoted this year, we're working harder than I think this is about as bad as it was our first year. It's what it feels like. It feels like we've started all over. So there's a lot of stuff we're talking to SBDC folks about the fact that after this conference, we're going to try to go back out and reach out to the early TRL because we got to get those people to where they're involved, we don't want all of your time, right? That's not the case, but we're trying to have this to where we can be helping people that are earlier in their TRL and their development, where they can join this along the way. And that way, like Denise this morning was talking about, she started on the non-DoD side, and now she's thinking there's a DoD focus. Well, that is a hot button with the DIU folks, especially in what we've been trying to do with SBDC for a long time, and that's the dual purpose. So we love the fact that if you don't have dual purpose, we hope you can discover dual purpose, not just DoD or DOE or anybody else, but that there's a commercial aspect to it. In most cases, there is. So to Chip's point, when you come, just talk. You are free to talk about what has worked for you, what has confused you. If it's working well for you, just tell them how the SBDC folks brought you in or what they've done. We're all trying to bring everybody in the ecosystem together where they can understand it and we can improve the process. We don't know it all. We just know what we've done and we know how to work with the tech scouts. We're trying to connect that other part to where this thing comes together very smoothly. All right. So then we've talked about two parts to what you do, a private pitch and then the public facing. What we're going to introduce to you today is what we call the poster board. And then what Rick will be talking about, I think 2 weeks from now, is the capability matrix and the capability statement. That's over in on the matchmaking side. So what we're doing in tech transfer is all focused towards the pitch with DoD and all those others we talked about. What we're going to be doing now is talking about the poster board, which is a public facing document that we utilized when we first started and for every year up until I think the last 2 years, we have had the poster board because we would have everybody come to the day at the speakers. At the end of the speaking portion, we would put 60 or 70 poster boards out for everyone to see. There were several reasons for that, but one of those was whatever tech scouts were there for the speaking portion, we would have a higher number than any other time. We had some tech scouts that were at the first half of the week or the second half. So we wanted to make sure all of our tech scouts that attended or speakers were able to see all the technologies at a glance. So what we're going to do is show you the template for the poster board. So I can get that right. There we go. And this, this is can you see that, Vicki? Did that come up? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. The poster board template will look similar to, for some of you that have seen the quad chart, you're going to see titles and information that's on the quad chart. Get that. There we go. That looks similar to some of the information that's in the poster board. I apologize if this is tiny on your screen. What I'm trying to show you for effect is that your quad chart on the right-hand side is a private document intended to be for the eyes of the DoD tech scouts as your primary, and then people they may refer them to. Bill will tell you that is probably going to be referred around if they know someone that they think should see this, a program manager and that type of thing. But what we're trying to tell you is it's designed to be for the DoD tech scouts. I personally believe whenever you take this information over to the poster board, you should think of the poster board as a public document. Bill says, consider your quad chart as a public document. The way you present information on the quad chart should be targeted towards your primary focus, which is your DoD Combatant Command Tech Scout. On the public facing, there may be stuff that you wouldn't say that you might say on the quad chart. What we are telling you is that the poster board for us is a public document. We want to be able, in the past, part of our goal, and we're not quite there yet, is we wanted your poster board to basically attach to your bluff. So whenever someone sees, we go over to the spreadsheet, to the website. I don't know why I got spreadsheet on the mind this morning. When you go to the website, you're able to look up and see Innovator Bluffs. We've got all the bluffs since our first year here. What we want to do at some point is have it where you can look at a bluff and either find the poster board document, that the public document that goes with it, or you can request it. All right, I'm going to take a pause. I see Bijou's hand up. Bijou, it's good to see you. You still
Yeah.
go by that is your name, right?
Yes, glad to be back in the saddle here. So,
Yeah, welcome
yeah,
back.
thank you, misty guys.
You too.
So, so hey, one of the additional part that so I agree with you everything about the poster board, but the additional component that I think I'd like folks to hear about is what the poster board does is it opens an avenue to showcase your capabilities in general and hopefully connect with other small businesses that can also read your poster and say, you know what, this is a company that I think could help me get to my goal. So it opens up an opportunity to partner. So I kind of look at the quad chart as more directly innovation focused. So it's focused down to the specific capability that you have. But the poster board can be a little bit more wider because it opens up, you want to structure it in a way that opens partnering opportunities. So that's my thought. Thank you.
And Bijou couldn't have said it better. Bijou was part of he was part of the ones that helped us with that poster board. So we collaborated. I think it was the second year. Did we do that in the first year, Bijou?
No, we didn't. And
Okay.
we saw random boards, and that's why
Yeah.
it caused us to say, no, let's impose structure on it.
Exactly. And the cool thing is, so you know that it worked. We had several people, tech scouts from the Department of the Secretary of Defense office, and the first thing their comments when they went through them was they loved the consistency in the presentation, because they said it didn't take us long to figure out what information was where. We knew right where to go to drill down to what we were looking for. And so but Bijou's right. That's exactly what we're talking about. Is the first thing that happens is you're connecting with who can you work with. A gentleman that I've heard that now retired from IBM, and he was one of their best salesmen, and he worked there for over 30 years. And his motto was always make the party bigger. Not all the services he sold were IBM. He brought in other partners, and he was consistently one of their best. So I agree with that. To Bijou's point, be looking for who can you partner with that can help them, which then helps you, or that they can help you, which helps them, right? So it doesn't matter which one's the lead, as much as the collaborating and combining makes a better product or service. I know in our first or second year, Brett Sheringhausen told us that he's had as many as 17 innovations together in one product or one delivery to DoD, that he had worked with 17. That's a lot, but that goes to show you how things happen. Okay, so basically then, wrapping that up, what we're trying to do then is help you understand that the poster board is public. Quad chart is, and the way Bijou said it was better, made more sense. Your quad chart may not be private. We're going to treat it private, and it will go to DoD as your primary focus. DOE, Department of Homeland Security will see it, but we don't direct it towards them. It's directed specifically because our primary target is DoD. Okay, so it's the combatant command, how they want that information. If they alter that in the future, then this thing will change. We've altered it. This year or last year with DIU area focus and line of effort, we got feedback from DIU saying this makes sense. And they made a comment, this is the only one we see doing it that way or doing it right. I won't say we're doing it right, but we are trying to make it to where their folks know who's doing what to make it easy connection for them as well. All right. I think that covers what we've had to do. Is that right, Vicki?
Alan, we have
Yeah.
a question.
Okay.
Can we share our quad chart with possible customers or investors?
That's again, that's not what we're going to do. That's if you want to, that's up to you. What I think what Bill tried to say so well when he commented on this last time was that your quad chart is probably going to go if in the DoD circles with the combatant commands, it's going to go places. But to Bijou's point, its focus is directed towards the combatant command tech scouts. They actually train, and all the people that they work with, they actually train on this quad chart to where they understand what they need to quickly. Okay. With the question, if you're sending this to a possible funder or someone else, that's really what the poster board is supposed to do. Your time and cost to market, your time with additional financial assistance about the company. There are things that you get to add in your poster board that you don't have in your quad chart. Yes, sir, Bijou.
Yeah. So yeah, I raised my hand before you finished what you were saying. So yeah, so exactly. And I think for companies, it's important to know that the quad chart is the protocol template that is used inside the DoD. Everyone understands what a quad chart is, and they expect things to look in the boxes that they are in. So that is the format that technology is circulated inside the DoD. So focus on that. The poster board and or additional components like that is not the format that's used internally. So think of the poster board as a template for communication to the public, and think of the quad chart as a communication format for the Defense Department. So treat them two separately. There are two different things. You have more expansionist possibilities on the poster board because you get to decide what goes on it, right? On the quad chart, it's got to look the way it needs to look. So that's probably the best simple way I can kind of state that. So
I think that's right. Bill talks about don't change the font on the quad chart, don't add more. When you get your quad chart, in the past, we'd have whenever Bill talks about it, you could have an area there's not enough information there. You didn't fill out, you didn't tell us enough. And the other areas you said too much and it spilled over into another section. And it was visually easy to see that you needed to edit it. Okay. We didn't plan it that way. It just worked out that way. But it makes sense. We don't want you fudging with a font in the poster board. It's already small enough, but it's designed not so much the same way. That's where you can talk about something that you couldn't cover and that you really wanted to on the quad chart. You can over there. What we're trying to tell you is some of you won't need the poster board. Why? Because if you're working with, when you're working with Rick with the capability statement, some of you have revenue, you've been producing for several years, or you've been in business for decades, and this is a new innovation. Well, then in your case, the capability statement is what people are used to. So the capability statement works. If you look at the poster board and you go, I fit better with the capability statement, then don't do the poster board. We just believe that there are innovators, at least in the past, that the capability statement didn't. You're going to leave a lot of stuff blank that you don't really do. The poster board may make more sense. Both of those are public-facing documents according to who you are as a business. Then you choose which one works best for you. And Rick will cover that in detail, like we said, in a couple of weeks. Great. Bill, anything from you?
Well,
I've been quoting you a lot.
you're quoting me just fine. Yeah, I would just say, what in terms of the quad chart, initially this quad chart is targeting the DoD Tech Scouts. And so it's private from that sense. If they ask for it to be forwarded to somebody else, you don't know where it goes. It will go different places within the government, but it's out of your control at that point. So you want to think of it as being a potentially public document, even though you're targeting a private audience. And so and as far as the poster board goes, the way this poster board is laid out, one of the reasons we don't want you to change the fonts is because it's designed so that you can actually print it as a 3-foot by 4-foot poster board, and it looks fine. So if you start changing fonts, it'll get weird if you do, if you do things like that. But if you're transferring it digitally, you can, people can zoom in on it. It's not that big of a deal. But so anyway, but back to the quad chart, even if it's a private document, just because it's private doesn't mean you need to give away your secret sauce at all, necessarily. You want to focus on what it does, what your widget does or service does, not necessarily on how you do it. The secret sauce is occasionally it's what it does, but a lot of times you can say, hey, we do this and this. Well, you don't need to tell them that you developed this under certain platforms and you're using special things, or how you did it. Just letting them know what the capabilities are. That's what what the Tech Scouts are most interested in. They don't care if it's programmed in C or if it necessarily, many other things. They might care about, basic materials, but, how you formed it is not important as much as the fact that you can deliver this capability to the warfighter, and you can do it probably in the next year or so.
Yes, sir. Bijou.
Yeah, folks, to kind of build on what Bill is saying, and I get these questions a lot from my clients also, is the objective of this presentation and the event is, and it helps to think of it as to get the next call. That's the objective, right? So what you want to think is you want to leave enough tantalizing things on your documents to say, I wonder how they do it. And so that should be the takeaway from your slides, is you want to show them the problem, you want to show them the solution and the outcome that can be had if someone were to employ your innovation. This is not about showcasing how complex and how wonderful your innovation is. That will come later. But at this point is you kind of want to get them hooked on what it is that you're proposing and why you think they should be very interested in what is it that you're offering. And I think if you can achieve that, then you will get the next call. So that's what I kind of try to tell my clients here to focus on. Put your best foot, showcase it from a relevance point of view. Take the real estate on the poster board as well as the capability as well as a quad chart to showcase why what you're doing is so significant, and so that you will get the next call to say, hey, we want to know more. That's my take. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you both participating, because it really helps to give a broader perspective. I know Rick is hungry to talk because of what he does with the capability statement. So the one thing I want to encourage you on is to realize we have samples. I know Denise asked earlier, we do samples. Bill did one through with all the things we do. He's got the same example that he runs through on a poster board. I don't know if did we actually do the poster board with this, Bill?
No, I don't remember for sure.
I don't think we did, but what I wanted to tell you was, for those of you that are looking at thinking the capability statement is maybe your preferred method, Rick does have a sample, and it's actually the gentleman who's on the phone, Scott Gray. Scott is it's his company that has he's given us his sample, his living document that he utilizes in the capability statement. So we're going to do everything we can to offer things up. We will never use your document as a sample unless you give us permission. That's part of that. As I've said it before, I don't think I told Denise this morning, but I tell everyone, we may not help you, but we will not hurt you. That's our first mission. Yeah, Bill.
I was just going to add to something that Bijou said, just in regard to, the focus of the documents. Think about when you're pitching, it's a similar focus. You're pitching to DoD Tech Scouts to give them a teaser for why they should pass on your information to somebody that might very well need it within the DoD. So when you're pitching, your focus isn't sales, your focus is on the technology and what it can do and why should the DoD care. Now, if you get that second call to pitch, that may be a different pitch. It may be initially that, but eventually you're going to get into more of the details of cost structures and how your company works at some level. That would be a different pitch. The focus here is getting to the next level, getting your technology in their face and showing them that they need to pass it on to the next level so you can start having conversations at a deeper level.
Yeah, now, and Alan, I'll just add one frame of reference. The DoD Tech Scouts, their job is to run around to the different commands and get an idea of where the needs in the commands are. And so they sort of have that in their back pocket, and they probably have way too many to even remember. But the way that you connect with the Tech Scouts so they can turn around and say, hey, I can think of 3 commands that would be interested in this because they've indicated they have a need for it. What you're going to want to do is focus on some takeaways. What is the technology? We know that they want it to be ready to go in case they tell a command, because the commands don't want to hear, hey, in 2 years it'll be ready. So that they definitely don't want to do that. But what you're trying to do in your pitch is emphasize the technology. And I would just come right out in the first couple of sentences you give them when you start discussing it or presenting it. Come out and tell them what the technology is. Something very simple. I make drones, and these drones have the capability of flying like any other drone, except it can also go underwater. Something like that. And that's just one that we had seen in the past. That gets their attention. And realize that they're getting one after the other and trying to mainline coffee to stay with it. And you want to get their attention right off the bat. So tell them what it is. Don't tell them about your company. Don't tell them about your history. They're not that interested in that. They want takeaways that they can remember and they can take to the other commands and recommend that you actually talk with them. And they always say 3 to 5 takeaways. So if there's a lower cost, if it's, why is it better than the competition? What does it do that's different from the competition that is going to be a real plus? Those are the 3 to 5 takeaways you want to emphasize, so that when they leave, they remember that, and they will remember it. They may not remember who you are, or they can't find it, but that's what Vicky does. They call Vicky, and Vicky finds the company and sends it to them. So that's probably the most important thing, or the most important thing to understand is their whole job is to understand just enough about your technology that it resonates with some of the other command's needs, and they can pass you off to them.
Bill,
Yeah, just a point of reference, Rick, from what you were saying there, they're specifically looking for solutions to problems that combatant commands have told them they need. And I can't speak for all the tech scouts, but I remember one conversation I had with Brett Sheringhausen, and he said, I believe it was 517 specific requests he was tracking. He had a spreadsheet of them, and it changes daily because this one comes off the list, that one gets added, and he had, a certain amount of time to try and respond to them. So they're tracking many, many different things in their, if not on paper or in a spreadsheet, in their mind. They've got hundreds. Each one of these tech scouts has got hundreds of issues that they're dealing with, everything from software to hardware to morale to, I mean, whatever you can imagine a combatant, that a soldier might need. They're tracking various things. So that's really important. They have a lot of things on their mind. If you can say it succinctly, what it is that makes you stand out, that's a big deal.
so the one thing we want to cover, because we did it Tuesday, so I'm going to have to go quickly for this, is we wanted to cover the point of contact. Bill speaks in this, so I'm going to play it right quick. And then if you have questions, we'll cover that. It shouldn't be but just a couple of minutes or so.
Now we'll cover the point of contact document. This document summarizes your title and bluff, your single point of contact for the company, any contracts specific to the technology that you're presenting, and any contacts that you've already made with government or commercial companies about the technology. This actually helps the tech scouts to know where you've already gone and how to further socialize your technology moving forward. This document, unlike the other documents, which are supposed to all be PDF, this document needs to be a Word document, but it permits copying and pasting for the tech scouts, especially your bluff and contact information. Don't include any hyperlinks, because most of the emails that the tech scouts have will strip hyperlinks directly out of the email, and you'll be left with a blank. So you can include the text for a hyperlink and then just say, copy and paste this hyperlink, this information. You can do that. That's perfectly acceptable, and that will work. The top section covers naming convention we've already talked about before for all of our documents. The first two digits, the first two characters are the document designation, and then the third one is a revision number. Just change that before you submit it. It helps the people coordinating the conference out a lot. Then it has company information and the title that you used in the conference, and then the bluff statement that you finalized. The next section gives some information on how to fill out the point of contact section, and then it gives an example, and then it gives you a table to fill out at the bottom. Put your point of contact information in. Please include as much as you feel comfortable with. We understand that there may be some contacts that would be considered highly confidential, or maybe they would consider from their side that to be confidential, would not want you to mention it. But include as much as you can, and that helps the tech scouts as much as possible to know where you've already gone and where they need to open doors for you.
All right. Any questions on Bill's presentation on point of contact? Looking around the room, see if anybody got anything. I will tell you, like I said, this is a collaborative process and a collaborative event. If you don't remember to put somebody on there that the tech scouts do want, you'll know and they'll tell you. What we're trying to do is get you prepared to where when you're finished with the pitch, you're as close to completely ready with your documents where we can move forward with them. They're going to, in some cases, especially this year, because you've been reviewed, that's never happened before. Before, they might get your title and your bluff in the spreadsheet, but they did not see information like you talking with your YouTube shorts. They did not see that before. Since they've seen that, we're trying to get you further down the road, if you will, in product or innovation development with them to where they are more ready for you when you meet in person. Okay. So there's a chance you may alter something. What we don't want is what happened in our first year. We found out they needed point of contact stuff and we needed to get the scribe notes to you. What used to take, took us 2 or 3 weeks the first year to get all those out to everyone. This year, or from now on, you go from the green room, getting prepped, get yourself calm, to the pitch room, from the pitch room to the red room. In the red room, you're going to get the scribe notes immediately, and you're going to be able to talk with your tech coach over what you just heard and what you guys talked about, what the tech scouts recommended, and you're going to hit your action points right then. We want all of your documents ready as close as can be, where all you got to do is go back and reach out to one point of contact and get a permission and get a connection, that type of thing, instead of you got 20. Okay. Yes, sir, Victor.
So point of contacts, is that people like maybe you think might be good people for them to reach out to, or is it people who you've been working with that would be that's the first part of my question.
Yeah, so I think the answer is yes. The idea, it really, not to be facetious, they're going to want to know when you've done something with a program person, a director, you've done something SBIR, they're going to want to have your point of contact with your SBIR phase 1 or phase 2. You've reached out, you've done something with the VA hospital, and you went there and you spent a week doing something there. That's that kind of thing. It can be a variety. You can be as inclusive and exhaustive as you want to be. What we're trying to do is help you realize you may miss one. And if it comes up in the meeting, it's not like all is lost. They're just going to have you add that to the list. So some may come out in the conversation while you're talking with them in the pitch.
And then my second question is, are these POCs primarily federal, or could you have POCs of like companies you've been working with who are still interested in the technology?
Yeah. Very
Okay,
much
perfect.
So. Yeah.
Okay.
Vicki, you bet.
I just wanted to tag on to what Alan was saying about the scribe notes. In addition to you all being able to review those in the red room right after your pitch, those scribe notes will also be placed in your OneDrive folder. You typically it's been that same day as the day that you pitch, so that you'll have access to them right away as well.
Yeah, and you'll have access to them. Yeah, as soon as you're done with your pitch, you're going to go to the next room and you'll be pulling them up, but you'll actually have physical copies of them within a day or so.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're at 11:01. We're 1 minute over, Bill.
Alan, we have a question about availability as far as slots available still for pitching and for new applications.
We're not full yet, but and we're not close to maximum for certain. What we told you a while ago, the Wednesday and Friday, that should fill up 20 slots. We're not full at 20. We don't have our minimum yet. And our maximum would put us into Tuesday for up to 30. And so that at 30, we're definitely cut off. They told us they don't want any more than 30. Okay, I think that covers everything. A lot of information, a lot of stuff. if you feel a little overwhelmed, just you saw how easy Bill talked on the video. He's not doing it fast. He's making it nice and easy for you to look at your document, look at what he's saying. He takes you a really good pace. I don't quite do that because I feel like we got to get everything out to you. So I apologize if I kind of freak you out. When you go through these, he won't. And you can pause him anytime. It's kind of hard to pause me when I'm live, right? That yellow hand goes up and I'm like, okay, I'll be quiet. All right, I think that's it. We will be back next Tuesday. And for those of you that are new, if Denise, if you or the others have any questions as you're going through this, email, reach out to us. It shouldn't be complicated. We welcome you and we look forward to your participation.
Thank you. Thank you very
Great
much.
meeting. Thank you.
Great meeting. Thank you, everybody.
Yep.